What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared Podcast, home of people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed. I want to welcome you to the show. So, it's the Christmas season, and I even went to church this morning. It was a very interesting time. And the more I look at Christmas, and the more I see the commercials on TV, which, honestly, they're quite pleasant. I gotta tell you the truth. I enjoy them. Something about the Christmas spirit that I just thoroughly enjoy. But, a lot of people like the idea and concept of something, but they don't understand where it actually comes from. For example, Christmas is not what you think it is. I wish I could sit here and tell you that that's not true, but it is. Christmas is a pagan holiday that was largely co-opted by the Catholic Church into what it is now. And then you sprinkle a little bit of corporate greed and capitalism in there, and you got what modern day Christmas has become. Now, I'm not saying that to hate. I'm not saying that because I don't like Christmas. I love Christmas. But I want you to realize that Christmas is largely built off of a facade that is just meant to make you feel good. It's largely based off of the holiday Yule, and a lot of other ones as well. And it's also based off a Roman holiday as well, which I forget the name of. But my friends, I bring this up because it begs an even larger question that I was thinking about earlier. And I heard this recently that really got me thinking. The question was, is Jesus black, or was Jesus black? I never thought about it before. And I know some people are immediately thrown off by that. They don't like it, whatever. No, that wasn't my response. My response was, well, based on the demographics of the Middle East, Palestine, what the Romans called Palestine and what we today also refer to as Palestine, and Judea, would make sense. Jesus was a Galilean man who grew up in Nazareth, born to Jewish parents. But you know what? It wasn't so much the race factor that got me thinking. It was, why do people care so much about what Jesus looked like? Why do they care so much what he looked like? Why do they care so much about his appearance, his place of origin? Why do these things matter to us? Why do we not care more about what he stood for, what he gave birth to, which is the modern Christianity, which is both helped the world in a lot of ways and has also hurt the world in a lot of ways. But Christianity is still the biggest religion in the world. And I don't understand why people care so much about Jesus' race. I don't care if Jesus is black. I believe him to be a Jewish man. His lineage is traced in the New Testament from Abraham all the way through Isaac, Jacob, Judah, and all the way through King David, King Solomon, all the way through the King Josiah, all the way eventually to Mary and Joseph, which I get it. Jesus was not Joseph's biological son according to the text, but that's not my point. My point is, Jesus is supposed to be the focal point of Christmas according to the Christian viewpoint, which I think is largely beautiful, because when you combine non-traditional elements like the Yule and the Roman holiday that I'm forgetting the name of, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on it, I had it before the show. But, you see, it's all about people coming together. I like what things represent. I believe that to be more important. So when I look out, I'm actually sitting in the park right now. Normally, I would have done my show from my dorm room in college, but I'm still back hanging out with the family, back in a little off the beaten path. And I'm just sitting in a park right now, and I'm looking at kids playing on the jungle gyms. I'm looking at dogs running in the park. I'm looking at dads on a weekend trying to teach their kids about sports. It's holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas that are supposed to bring people together. It's supposed to help us put aside the politics, the religion, the stuff that drives us apart every day of the week. Because make no mistake about it, it's this divide and conquer mentality that helps the government, helps the media, helps the corporations, just exploit us every step that we can go. Every step of the way. They want to exploit us, make a bag off us, and then leave us at each other's throats while they run away to this, laugh all the way to their Swiss bank accounts. Now, I don't say that to make you hate them. I say that so that you have compassion for your fellow man, because they're really not all that different than you. Even if you are a staunch conservative or a raging liberal, progressive, and you hate the other side with visceral hatred. You hate them. You don't like their viewpoints. You don't like what they stand for. You don't like the candidates they vote for. You got to realize that at events like this, because there might be people like that in your family. Maybe you know someone in your family who is completely opposite of the political spectrum. They're a different religion than you, whatever it may be. This is a time of year that's supposed to bring people together. So when people bring up the question of, was Jesus black? At the end of the day, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. According to the text in the New Testament, the disciples who wrote about their master, their teacher, their rabbi, Jesus of Nazareth, they described him as someone who wasn't really all that notable when it comes to his physical features. So he most likely was a Galilean man. He was a Jew, which means he was probably olive-skinned. Maybe he looked darker, so by today's standards, maybe he would be considered black. Or maybe because he was born in the Middle East, people of Middle Eastern descent are largely considered Caucasian. However, people from North Africa often migrated into Middle East and vice versa. So at the end of the day, the question is a pregnant question, but it's not because the question itself is interesting. It's because of what it implies. It implies that, again, we're trying to divide people based upon race, based upon sex, based upon religion, based upon class, orientation, you name it, everything under the sun. And again, this is why I encourage you this Christmas season to, at the end, they believe what you want to believe. I'm not saying that it's impossible that Jesus was black. For all I know, he was. It doesn't matter to me. Let's not focus on what divides us. You look at the movies, they usually show him as a Caucasian man. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. That's not the point. The point is you should take this time to appreciate what you have, value the family that you talk to. Because a lot of people don't talk to family at all, by the way. A lot of people don't have a lot of people. They're alone. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone means you can be around people where you want, you just choose not to. Kind of like me. I'm a little more antisocial because I largely believe people to be terrible. Not you personally, but people in general, I think, want to exploit you, use you, throw you aside when they're done with you. I don't believe people to be good, innately. There are good people out there, but most people I think are terrible, quite frankly, which is why I choose to be more antisocial. So, moral of the story, my friends, is appreciate the people you have. Because you might not, there are people out there who are genuinely lonely, like they don't have anybody, they're just stranded and they feel disenfranchised, alone. There are real people like that out here. And so during this season, when the weather gets a little colder, you spend a little more time indoors, when most people spend enough time indoors as it is already. But nonetheless, let's get back to the real point of the show. The show is, I want to ask you, do you think Jesus was black? Do you think he was white? Do you think he was just olive-skinned, like Middle Eastern Galileans, Nazarenes, and Jews tend to be today? At the end of the day, my friends, do you care about a subject like that? Do you think it's important? Do you think that it's largely just another way for people to be divided over something that's supposed to bring us together? Whether it's religion, like in Christianity, or whether it's the holiday spirit of Christmas and Thanksgiving. They're supposed to bring us together. Show us that despite our differences, whether it be politically, whether it be religiously, whether it be culturally, that we can put those aside and we can appreciate each other. We can throw aside the things that divide us and we can be unified in our celebration of a holiday that we all care about. But, that's all too hard today. A lot of people want to be divided because we're programmed to be that way. We're told that we should care more about our differences than about things that bring us together. Well, I totally disagree with that. Totally disagree. I think you should be more focused upon things that you can control and things that bind you together to people, because there's enough things that'll drive you apart. There's enough evil in the world. There's enough things in the world that are morally ambiguous at best. And instead, you should focus on things that bring you together during this type of holiday season. Don't let all the ads about joy and happiness and whatnot push you away from the idea of being happiness and joyful, not because of the things you buy, but because of the person you're becoming and the things that you believe in. Let those things inspire you this Christmas season. Don't get focused on whether Jesus was white, black, or whether Christianity is good at all, or whether you believe that Jesus was who he said he was. All those things, they're important in their own way, but let's not lose the general focus of caring about our fellow humanity. And because just look at the garbage going on with what Hamas is doing to Israel. It makes me sick, frankly. And I'm not going to get into it in detail, because then this will hijack the entire show. But I bring that up as just an example of one of the ways the world is really sad, really gross, and really disgusting to look at. And horrible, frankly. And so that's why we need to put aside, there's enough horrible, distasteful things in the world, but we need to focus on what brings us together, what unites us as people, as just human beings in general. You know, I'm looking over at this practice right now, but they're throwing football around. The kids with their parents, coaches, I'm not sure, but I'm watching them, and it's refreshing that things like this still happen. The world might be crumbling in certain places, but there's still this sense of, father teaching son about how to throw a pigskin around. There's beauty in this. It's touching my heart looking at this right now. So my friends, look, whether Jesus was white, black, Jewish, whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is this holiday season and finding a way to love your neighbor, because there's way too many reasons out there to hate your neighbor. Let's find a way to love our neighbor and not let the government gestures, the corporations drive us apart and make a profit off it. So enjoy this holiday season. And I'll do more episodes like this as Christmas approaches. But I really wanted to set the mood for this new season. I really want you to look inward and look at the ways in your life that you might be pushing people away, or that you might have inherent biases within you that are keeping other people away that you might be able to benefit from, or they can benefit from you. My friends, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless America. Let's get out there and let's bring people together. Let's attempt to do that more this holiday season. And I'm out of here. Peace.